This hour on WMNH is sponsored by CGI Business Solutions, located at 5 Dartmouth Drive in Auburn. They serve all your business needs, including employee benefits planning, corporate design and business administration, investments and wealth management, and customized business insurance solutions. Their phone number is 866-841-4600 or on the web at cgibusinesssolutions.com.
Bring your kitchen to life with Queen City Cabinetry, located at 87 Elm Street in the historic Sunbeam Mall in Manchester. Open Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. and Saturdays, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. They can be reached at 603-222-2007 or on the web at queencitycabinetrynh.com. Come see the possibilities. Queen City Cabinetry, another proud sponsor of WMNH.
Come on down to the Hop Knot at 1000 Elm Street, Manchester's premier craft beer and gourmet pretzel bar. Tell us more, Trudy.
We make our dough fresh every day. We make a variety of styles of pretzels and serve craft beer, cocktails, and a few bottles of wine. We do the traditional pretzel, and we have multiple flavors for that. We also do stuffed pretzels, pretzel sandwiches, free dessert pretzels, and pretzel knots.
The Hop Knot in the Brady Sullivan Plaza at 1000 Elm Street.
Clemento's Pizzeria, family friendly, awesome for a date night. Clemento's Pizzeria. For delivery, call 603-782-8450. Clemento's Pizzeria, the best pizza in town. 1875 South Willow Street in Manchester, New Hampshire. Best cocktails around. Come in as friends and leave as family.
You are listening to WMNHLP, Manchester's radio, broadcasting at 95.3 megahertz frequency modulation from the top of 1000 Elm Street. Our studios are located at 1045 Elm Street and licensed to Manchester Public Television Service in Manchester, New Hampshire, USA.
everybody, welcome. Here we go. It is that time again. Matt Connerton Unleashed, and we are live from the studios of WMNH 95.3 FM in glorious downtown Manchester, New Hampshire. Also on Comcast 97 if you're in Manchester, and hello to all of our online listeners across the nation and around the globe. You can go to my website, mattconnerton.com, for all your live streaming options, social media links, contact info, show archives, etc., etc. Today is Thursday, July 20th, 2023. So nice to have you all with me. Rhonda Favero, of course, all the way on the West Coast, California, says, howdy from hot Southern California, 106 degrees today. Well, I just hope it's a dry heat, Rhonda. You know, I'll tell you, today in Manchester, we got a little bit of a break. Well, it's kind of hot now, actually, but not as humid, so a little bit easier today. But it's hot. It's the hottest summer on record. That happens every year, of course. Every year it's the hottest summer. And that's, I fear, not to be a downer, but it's only going to get worse. Anyway, onward and upward we go, though. At least we're in a nice air-conditioned studio here, and very appreciative of it. If you would like to join us on the program today, the studio line is open, 603-250-6007, 603-250-6007. You can also text me at 617-917-4476. I'm on social media at Matt Connerton. You can email me, Matt, at mattconnerton.com. And, of course, you can interact and opine in the Facebook live chat. But the best thing to do so that we can hear and enjoy your dulcet tones is to give us a call at 603-250-6007, 603-250-6007. By the way, today's opening track was Faded by the band Heel's Throne, or Hale's Throne. I'm still not sure I'm actually saying that quite correctly, but they are a great European band that we had on the show from Germany. I think, if I remember correctly, that we had Skyping in a few weeks ago. And I love that track. Such a great song. That is Faded. If you're looking for them online, they spell it HEL''S. So it looks like, at first I thought it was Hell's Throne when I first saw the name, but then there's only one L because it's Heel's Throne, and Heel has something to do with Greek mythology or something. I don't really remember. I just love the music, and I really enjoyed interviewing them. So I was looking for something to play to open today's show because we don't have a musical guest today, and I thought, you know what? I really love that song. That's a good opener. Great track. Faded. I think at the top of the hour today, we're going to play something from Satellite Union. My friend Dave Wally, who joined us on the show last week, his band out of Chicago. That song, Like a War, is very appropriate for the times we live in, I think. I think I'm going to play that today at the top of the show. Like I said, we don't have a musical guest. Now, something that I'm going to kind of tease this, but I don't like to promise that we'll get to it. But in lieu of a musical guest, we are going to do something musical if we have time. Probably save it for the second hour of the show today. But there's a lot of controversy around this new Jason Aldean song. And if you don't know, he's a country artist. He's got a song called Try That in a Small Town. I would like to play that on the show and kind of analyze why it's got some people very upset. I have intentionally avoided listening to it. I have not listened to it yet because I wanted to play it live on the air, on the show, and just kind of give you my in the moment spontaneous reaction to it and my thoughts on it. Some people are saying it's racist. We'll see, or that it celebrates gun violence and so forth. But I want to judge for myself and hopefully get some listener feedback on it too. So hopefully we'll get to that in the second hour. I say hopefully because if you're new to the show, obviously we're live, and if there's some big breaking news that happens in the realm of politics, we don't always get to the things I have planned. I always come in here with a plan. And, I might have 5 or 6 things, ideas of subjects that are in the news, especially politically, that I might like to get to. And then sometimes we end up not getting to any of it because while we're on the air, something else happened. There's some breaking news and so forth. And then we end up getting derailed, which is part of the adventure of it all. But whereas we don't have any guest schedule today, we'll have time to get into some things, get caught up on some things. I also do want to look at the a couple of IRS whistleblowers who testified before Congress, and I have some thoughts on that, and we'll get into that a little bit today too. That was a couple of days ago. Fox News carried it. CNBC and CNN did not. Mike Doyle emailed me about it too. But yeah, I did intend to get to it this week, so we'll probably do that. Actually, we'll do that in the first hour, I think. So like I said, today we'll try to get caught up on some things. Also, I'm hoping that our friend Dave Ridley calls in today. If you heard yesterday's show, you might have heard Dave called in. But it was during our segment, I call it My Favorite Conservative. That's the official name of the segment now that we do Wednesdays with my friend Eric Pilcher from Cedar Rapids, Iowa. And John Hopwood was here as well. So it really wasn't the best time to get deep into the subject that Dave was calling about, our friend Dave Ridley from the Ridley Report and NH Exit. But essentially, he did give us a little bit. The radio talk show, Free Talk Live, is apparently not going away, but they're really downscaling. And I'm a radio nerd. I love radio. I love talking about radio and, of course, other forms of media, cable news, and so forth. And that show sort of going away is a big deal in the world of political talk radio. If you're not familiar with Free Talk Live, because political talk radio is largely dominated by conservatives. You have a lot of conservative hosts with very successful nationally syndicated shows. And then you have a few liberal shows too, but conservatives really dominate that space. But you've got a few liberal shows that are very popular, hosts that are very successful, like Tom Hartman or Stephanie Miller, Arnie Arneson. She's more regional, I think, but there are some stations on the West Coast that carry Arnie as well, but she's from New Hampshire. But Free Talk Live is the only really sort of pure libertarian political talk show that I can think of. They're on 7 nights a week, 7 to 10 p.m., or is it 8 to 11? I think it's 7 to 10 Eastern, on more than 100 stations across the country. So them sort of leaving the stage, if you will, of radio is kind of a big deal. So I did ask Dave to call back in today. So if he's able to, if he calls back in today, we'll get into that a little bit, because I'm very interested in what's happening there. And of course, that relates to, it sounds like it relates to Ian Freeman, who, if you're not familiar with Free Talk Live, you might be familiar with Ian Freeman. He's been in the news, and we've talked about him on the show because he was part of that bust that happened in Keene over Bitcoin. It's all a little bit complicated, and I'm not sure I completely understand it myself. But Ian might very well be going to prison. So that might also play a role in what is happening to that show, Free Talk Live, because that's really his baby. He started that with Mark Edgington, or Mark Edge as he's known. And I don't know if Mark is even still associated with the show at all. Full disclosure, I did at one point have for a while a professional relationship with them. I was never a part of that show, never involved in that program at all, but a streaming service that my business operates, we used to carry that show on there. We disengaged when during the pandemic, when we started hearing a lot of the conspiracy theory stuff and medical misinformation and so forth, which I get very frustrated by. As someone who has taken COVID-19 very seriously and takes the pandemic and public health in general very seriously, I didn't like being associated with nothing personal against those guys. And listen, I mean, Ian, I like Ian personally and professionally. I always found him very very nice to deal with, very easy to deal with. So I'm not saying anything against the guy, just to be clear. But I was certainly uncomfortable, as was Jenny, with some of the content that we were hearing coming out of that program. So we distanced ourselves from those guys. Unfortunately, libertarians. Well, I remember making a comment on, and I have some libertarian in me. I have some libertarian views, but I remember making a comment on social media, and I probably lost some friends over it, but during the pandemic, in the throes of the COVID-19 pandemic, I said, wow, I didn't realize how many people I know who are really just, these crazy conspiracy theorists. And I think some people took that personally, and I probably indirectly damaged some of those friendships and perhaps working relationships as well with that comment. But if you know me at all, and of course, if you're a longtime listener of the show, you know that I don't have a lot of patience for nonsense when it comes to the pandemic and COVID-19. I don't, I don't really allow that on the show. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm always open to having policy discussions about it. Like if you want to talk on the program about whether or not you agree with mask mandates and shutdowns and things like that, I'm always open to having a policy discussion. But, if I have to hear about, just some of the wild theories, I don't even want to repeat any of the things on air that I've, because then I can't put the show on YouTube. It'll violate their terms of service. Which brings me to something else too. I just want to mention briefly. If you are someone who enjoys the program on Facebook, we do, of course, obviously after the show, the podcast version is available online. We put it online at WMNHradio.org. And of course, you can get a link to it on my website and so forth. But all the shows are archived there. And I put them on YouTube as well. I suggest going to one of those places if you're listening to the show after the fact. If you're joining us live on Facebook, that's wonderful. And I will say hello to everybody in the Facebook live chat in a moment. If you're listening to us live on Facebook, great. But if you're going back afterward and getting us on Facebook, Facebook is really clamping down now on music being played. It used to be we would occasionally get, I would get a copyright notification from Facebook, and they would say, if I played, like I used to play the radio edit of Fight the Power by Public Enemy a lot, just as an example. And then I would get a notification from Facebook saying, hey, we've muted the audio. You have 5 minutes of copyrighted audio that we've muted on your video because of a copyright violation. Now, all of a sudden, they're getting, and by the way, I always appeal those when I get them, and I used to always win the appeal. All of a sudden, even local bands from the area that I have on the show coming in doing live performances, Facebook is muting all of that. They're basically muting all of the music during the show. So if you are getting the show on Facebook after the fact, you're only you're missing out on part of the show. Now, maybe you don't care about the music part. Maybe you just want to hear the talk radio part, and that's fine. But if you want to hear the music, I suggest you just go to YouTube or listen to the podcast. For the best audio quality, you should just listen to the podcast version that goes up after we're live, actually. Because Facebook is being really aggressive about, basically, they're just muting all the music now. So that's why on Friday nights, when we do Retro Spectrum Radio with Paulie C, Friday nights from 8 to 11 p.m. here at WMNH, Paul mutes Facebook entirely, only during his show. He just mutes it. We have the Facebook live chat open during his show, and we love talking with the listeners on Facebook while the show is on. But we tell everybody, just go to the website, go to WMNHradio.org and click Listen Live. It's better audio quality than Facebook anyway. You're getting much better audio quality if you just stream it on the site. But, because if Paul doesn't mute the show, Facebook just kicks us off like 5 minutes into the show. So yeah, they're clamping down. Zuckerberg is clamping down. All right, let's do this. Let me give the studio line again, and then we'll say hello to everybody in the Facebook live chat, and then we're going to get into some stuff. 603-250-6007 is the studio line, 603-250-6007. I do want to say hello to everybody in the Facebook live chat. Looks like a busy chat room. JFed, of course, is in the chat from the great state of Vermont and says, good afternoon, everyone. Rhonda Favero, we mentioned in there. Oh, speaking of musicians, by the way, my friend Ryan LeMay is in the Facebook live chat, says, hey, Mr. Connerton, stay cool, my brother. Thank you. And our friend Ron is on the line. Hi, Ron.
Hi, Matt. I could either call you after the show on your own personal line or just ask you a quick question right now. Would a follow-up discussion, would a follow-up with my sister-in-law be of any beneficial? I think she would like to try another session to see if things could work out.
Oh, sure. Yeah. I mean,
okay.
You can call me after the show if you want, or have her call me. She has my number, obviously.
I will do that. I will have her call you because there was success, but I think since there was success, I'd like to go one step further.
Oh, okay. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we can do that.
Oh, thanks. looking forward to the show.
All
Thanks,
right.
buddy.
Thanks, Ron. Bye-bye. All right, very good. That was our friend Ron. Just a point of clarification, if people are completely baffled, I am a hypnotherapist, and I recently did a session with Ron's sister. So he was he was calling to, and she left a very nice review online, which is wonderful. But that's what Ron was referring to. I thought I should clarify for people who are like, wait a minute, you did what kind of a session did you do with Ron's sister? What is he talking about? That's what it is about. So, but we'll figure that out later. Oh, Dave Wally is in the Facebook live chat. Dave, I mentioned you earlier at the top of the show today at the 5 o'clock hour. I'm going to play Like a War from a little band called Satellite Union that I've become a very big fan of. Such a great song. Let's see. Mike from Queen City Cabinetry in the Facebook live chat. Mike, of course, not only one of our great sponsors here at WMNH, but one of our co-hosts Friday nights on Retro Spectrum Radio with Paulie C. And we have a call. Oh, hi. Welcome to Matt Connerton Unleashed. Who's this?
Yes. What are your rates? Is this the escort service?
No, sir. I'm afraid you have the wrong number. And could you please be less creepy, whoever you are?
Sorry.
What is going on? What? Hello? No, okay. He hung up. Probably didn't like that I called him creepy. That was very creepy. I recognize the caller ID, though, so I might have to... I recognize the caller ID. I recognize the number on the caller ID. Phonics, Matt. Sorry, you'll have to forgive me. It's my first day. So I might have to, I heard you... Next time I see that person, you were looking for an escort service, huh? Let's see. Dave Wally says, wait, what's he offering? I think he was looking for something from me, actually, Dave. Oh, Miriam Banish joins us in the Facebook chat and says, Matt is an amazing hypnotherapist. Thank you, Miriam. I appreciate that very much. DJ Steve, speaking of co-hosts on Retro Spectrum Radio, is in the chat and says, good afternoon, Matt and everyone. Hello to you, sir. Let's see. Oh, Pre-Band Prince is in the Facebook live chat. A very talented hip-hop artist from the great state of Florida joins us. Or I don't know if I haven't talked to him in a while. I don't know if you're still in Florida, but if you are, I hope you're doing well. I mean, I hope you're doing well regardless, but Florida is particularly hot and humid this time of year. And there's a lot of other things wrong with Florida as well. Hello to a New Force of the Spark, of course, from Greensboro, North Carolina. Hello, hashtag Matt, we said, and good afternoon. Yes. Oh, Miriam Banish recommends listening to the show on Podbean. Yes, indeed. We do upload the show to Podbean. Jenny, of course, is in the Facebook live chat and says, shalom, peeps. New Force of the Spark says, oh no, sad news. We said sad news is Isaac Banks, friend from the Inner Rhythm Choir at Lindley Park Baptist Church in Greensboro, North Carolina. She was a nice lady. June Rash from Greensboro, North Carolina. She was a nice old lady and she passed away on Tuesday morning, we said. Well, if I may, now I did not know this person, June Rash, but I would just like to extend my condolences. And I will just make an observation. I think if my last name were Rash, I might change it. But because, even just hearing the name of someone with the last name Rash, there's a number of jokes that leap to mind, all of which would be inappropriate in a moment like this. And a couple of which would potentially even get me fired. So, but condolences to June Rash from Greensboro, North Carolina. From what I hear, according to New Force of the Spark, she was a nice old lady. So, moment of silence for June Rash. Okay, that's the end of the moment of silence. It was very brief, kind of a nanosecond, really. But that's because it's radio. You can't really have dead air. Who was it? There was somebody one time who wanted to suggested I have a moment of silence for something. Might have been EZG. And he wanted it to be like a legitimate, 60 seconds, a minute of silence. And I'm like, dude, it's radio. We can't just sit here in silence, even for 60 seconds. That's about 55 seconds too long. You know, we got to move it along. You can't have silence. Paulie C is in the Facebook live chat and says, greetings, Matt, big fan. Oh, I'm sorry. Greeting, Matt, big fan. We are a super group from Manchester, but we only do karaoke, which totally makes sense. That's right. Also, Eric Street joins us in the chat and says, no entertainment report this week. No. Now, our friend Easy G, Eric Gagnon, he is our entertainment reporter. However, I have not heard from him, and he has not called, as he has done in the past on Thursdays. I don't know why. I don't know what's going on with him, but I do know that he has a long history of disappearing and not telling anyone that he's disappeared or disappearing. Although I guess if you're truly disappearing, you wouldn't tell anyone. And there he is in the Facebook live chat. He says, I am back. But is it really you? Is it really you? Or has someone done something with Easy G and is pretending to be you? Just because it says Eric Gagnon doesn't mean it's Easy G. Eric Gagnon is a very common name, I would mention. I went to grade school with like 7 or 8 people named Eric Gagnon. They're everywhere. Melanie La Liberty from the great state of Vermont joins us and says, hey, guys. Well, if you really are Easy G, by the way, the Eric Gagnon in the Facebook live chat, I hope you're all right. I hope nothing terrible has happened to you. And most importantly, I hope Bruce hasn't done something horrible that keeps you from doing your entertainment report, or as I like to call it, your Amanda McCarthy, April Cushion, Katie Dobbins report. New Force of the Spark says, we say our manager producer, hashtag Michael Martineau, a.k.a. Texas Mike. Yes, I'm not sure why you're mentioning Texas Mike, but we love Texas Mike, so that's fine. Unless Texas Mike was a good friend of June Rash. If you're just joining us, June Rash of Greensboro, North Carolina has tragically passed away. He's doing his entertainment report in the chat room. EasyG says April Cushman on WMUR Chronicle at 7 p.m. tonight. Oh, very good. Very good. Chronicle. Yes, that airs on Channel 9 here in the Queen City. All right, let me give the studio line again, and then we'll get into some stuff. 603-250-6007, 603-250-6007. You can also text me at 617-917-4476. I'm on social media at Matt Connerton. And of course, you can email me, Matt at mattconnerton.com. You can interact and opine in the Facebook live chat. But the best thing to do is call the studio line, 603-250-6007. I want to look at the, I do want to look at the hearing the other day, but just a quick thing because it popped up and I said, what? Mediaite has, by the way, there's a picture here of Senator Ted Cruz where he looks absolutely delightful. Senator Ted Cruz of Texas. I'm not saying he's a delightful person by any stretch, but this picture of him here is absolutely delightful. He looks like some sort of a comedian or something. If you've seen the picture, you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't, you have no idea. But if you go to Mediaite and you look up this story, Mediaite.com, you'll see the picture I'm referring to. Oh, Scott Robinson in the chat room says, I need my entertainment report. Let's go, Eric Gagnon. I don't know what the problem is. This is on Mediaite. Senator Ted Cruz's bizarre war on fictional characters moves to Barbie. It says here, Texas Senator and part-time podcaster Ted Cruz is no stranger to starting beef with other people, but he also has a history of going after fictional characters. By the way, Ben Shapiro did that recently as well. A perfect example of this has risen to the surface in the last few weeks with the highly anticipated film Barbie. Although most people would view the movie as a harmless representation of one of the most beloved children's toys in America, the Texas Republican is hell-bent on the theory the plastic blonde is a Trojan horse for Chinese Communist Party propaganda. Let me guess. The Barbie dolls are made in China. I haven't pre-read this, so I don't know the answer. That's just a guess. Let's see. I like I said, I did not pre-read this. I don't know where this is going, but I must tell you, I am intrigued, and I hope you are as well. Why does Ted Cruz think that Barbie is Chinese Communist Party propaganda? Maybe there's a TikTok video with some Barbie dolls that he saw and he had some sort of objection. I don't know. Let's learn together. It says here, Cruz became perturbed when a preview for the film showed a map drawn in crayon, which included the 9-dash line indicating that China owns the South China Sea. This line has largely been disputed by the other countries that also claim to own the area, including Vietnam. I'm still not convinced, but I continue to be intrigued. In an interview with Fox News' Jesse Waters Prime Time Wednesday night, Cruz warned that the film is trying to kiss up to the CCP in order to make more money in the region on the film. Unfortunately, this is just one of several wars Cruz has waged. Back in 2021, Cruz set his crosshairs on Sesame Street and in particular Big Bird. Well, to be fair, Big Bird, I do think is, as we say in the Northeast, a wicked commie. I mean, you know, he's got all the feathers and the beak, and I have no idea where I'm going with that. In November 2021, Big Bird took to Twitter to share that he had received a COVID vaccine. Oh, right, that's why. Yes, because Big Bird is pro-vaccine, and all of us who are pro-vaccine, as I myself am, we're all really just communists. We want to force everyone to get vaccinated and programmed to be communists. I'm going to have to edit this part out for the YouTube version of the show, because even though I'm being sarcastic, YouTube will flag it as medical misinformation, because it is medical misinformation. I'm not saying I'm not a communist. I don't think I am, but others would think I am. I mean, I advocate for national health care. My goodness. I mean, hell, look at my hat. People's Action. What's more communist than that? But no, I'm kidding. This is the tweet from Big Bird, at Big Bird, if you want to follow Big Bird on Twitter, or Tweeter, because it's Big Bird. I see what I did there, Tweeter instead of. That's why I'm in afternoon drive. Big Bird tweeted, I got the COVID-19 vaccine today. My wing is feeling a little sore, but I'll give my body an extra protective boost that keeps me and others healthy. Miss at Erica R. Hill even said, I've been getting vaccines since I was a little bird. I had no idea. Cruz immediately criticized the animal for promoting government propaganda. Well, Big Bird's not actually an animal. He's would you call Big Bird a Muppet? What do you, Big Bird's not part of the Muppets, but it's the same. It's still Jim Henson, right? Because it's Sesame Street and the Muppet Show. It's all, I don't know. I might be wrong about that. Ted Cruz retweeted Big Bird's tweet and said, government propaganda for your 5-year-old. Yes. Actually, there is a history of conservatives getting angry when the government encourages people to be healthy. I remember, and I'm not, if you think I'm making this up, I promise you I'm not. Look it up, Google it. You'll find it immediately. During the Obama administration, and part of why I got to see this up close was, for 5 years, I was a co-host on a conservative talk show called Rock, Paper, Hand Grenades, hosted by my good friend, Gary S. Hopper. God rest his soul. He passed away within the last year of cancer. And Gary, I love Gary, great friend, even though we were very different politically, obviously. But sitting on that show and trying to be sort of the fly in the ointment, because I was constantly surrounded by conservatives on that show, and I'm obviously not a conservative. But I remember I was on that show during the Obama administration when Michelle Obama rolled out her campaign for encouraging healthy eating. Oh, my God. Conservatives were furious, saying Michelle Obama wants to control what your children eat, thus proving that she's a communist and a terrorist and just the worst person ever, except for her husband. And conservatives were so angry. It was just a thing to encourage kids to eat healthy. That's all it was. But John Hopwood is in the Facebook live chat and says, I thought Barbie was a Trojan horse for the trans agenda. Big Bird is a fictitious character officially. Yes to both. Scott Robinson says, don't forget about Fraggle Rock, Matt. That's also Jim Henson. Oh, yeah, I liked Fraggle Rock when I was a kid. That was on HBO. That wasn't on regular TV. It was on HBO, so they could get a little risque, and it was okay because it was on a pay channel. I'm kidding. Fraggle Rock was never risque. That's a joke. Let's see. In 2002, Cruz gained word that another Sesame Street star and literal puppet, Elmo, had received the vaccine as well. It didn't take long for Cruz to blast the childlike fictional character for providing zero scientific data on COVID vaccines in the commercial. Here's what Cruz tweeted. Quote, "Thanks at Sesame Street for saying parents are allowed to have questions. You then have at Elmo aggressively advocate for vaccinating children under 5, but you cite zero scientific evidence for this. Learn more." Okay. In April 2022, Cruz joined fellow Republican Ron DeSantis in bashing Disney for speaking out against Florida's Don't Say Gay bill. He don't say gay in quotes, so no one gets upset. He warned parents that soon the entertainment giant would portray Mickey Mouse. Okay, I'm not even going to read that. That's actually, never mind. Okay, I don't want to ruin anyone's childhood with what they talked about. Yeah, it goes on. Wow, Ted Cruz really has a fixation with this stuff. I'm skipping some of this. In recent weeks, Cruz has expanded his outrage wheelhouse to include inanimate objects. He took to the Senate floor earlier this month with the dire warning that your air fryer could be spying on you. Cruz proposed a bill that would mandate that companies disclose if everyday household products and appliances have cameras and microphones installed. Cruz said, quote, "I don't think the American people want their air fryer spying on them. And at a minimum, they have a right to know if their air fryer is spying on them," unquote. Okay, I'm going to tell you all something, and Jenny knows this. I'm going to share something. I'm suddenly a little bit alarmed, and this had never occurred to me before. We have an air fryer in our home. We have someone who lives with us, Jenny and I do. His name is DJ Reckless, also known as Christian Lacoste, but professionally he is known as DJ Reckless. He did purchase an air fryer, and he does use the air fryer. So, Jenny, if you don't mind, if at some point before I get home, could you please check the air fryer that Christian brought and make sure there is not a camera in it? I am deeply concerned about the air fryer. Look, sometimes crazy people turn out to be right. I'm trying to think of an example, and nothing leaps to mind. But I'm sure there's an example of somebody saying something so insane and irrational. I almost said irrational. I think that's how you say it in French. Irrational. And then it turns out to be true. But Jenny says, "I'm on it." Thank you. Thank you. I don't want to be spied on by appliances. What if the senator, I mean, look, they keep reelecting him in Texas, so he must know something. He must know something about appliances at least. Oh, you know how there folks of his ilk are very upset about this information about gas stoves aren't necessarily good for you. And so, of course, they immediately jump to, oh, they're coming for our gas stoves. What if it turns out, now wouldn't this put them in an ideological bind? What if it turned out that gas stoves are spying on us? How do they then explain their love of gas stoves? All right. So that's Ted Cruz. I have wondered, and I can't be the only one who wonders, is it possible, is it at all possible that Ted Cruz, that this whole thing is just performance art, and that he actually knows exactly what he's doing, and he's not really, doesn't really have these fixations on inanimate objects and fictional Muppet characters and so forth? Is it possible? We all have to wonder, don't we? Because I have to tell you, if the day ever comes where Ted Cruz finally just comes out and says, "Hey, I fooled you all, and I've been playing this character," I would actually really respect that. If it turned out to be some sort of Andy Kaufman thing where he's not really this guy, because there's been moments that I've wondered. I don't know why. I don't know what it is, but sometimes, I mean, look, they're all performative to some degree, right? I forget who it was. It might have been Eric Swalwell. Somebody said they were sitting on a committee with Ted Cruz. A Democrat said they were sitting on a committee with Ted Cruz, and they were new. They were either new on the committee or they had recently been elected, so they were new there. And during a bathroom break, they had gotten to some sort of a heated discussion or discourse with Ted Cruz. During a bathroom break, this guy goes to the men's room and Ted Cruz walks in. He also had to use the restroom, obviously. And after Ted Cruz washes, they both wash their hands. And Ted Cruz actually reaches over and gives him a fist bump, gives this Democrat a fist bump and says, "You're doing a great job out there." And it's like, it's things like that make you go, well, is all of this even more performative than perhaps we even think it is? DJ Steve says, I'll be checking my electric stove for cameras and mics. Let me know, because let me tell you something. If it turns out that your electric stove is spying on you, you will want to. Now, obviously, I would suggest you notify our congressional delegation here in New Hampshire, perhaps reach out to Senator Hassan. But I would suggest actually going directly to Ted Cruz. I don't mean literally travel to Texas, but I would contact Ted Cruz and let him know. And next thing you know, you might be testifying in front of the senator on a committee about electric stoves and microphones. And you'll be famous. It'll be great. John Hopwood posted this from Wikipedia, the hard to believe department. Cruz then attended Harvard Law School, where he was a John M. Olin Fellow in Law and Economics. He was a primary editor of the Harvard Law Review, and it goes on and on. It's very, very impressive. See, it's things like that make me wonder, is he really, this absurdism that he projects, is it genuine, or is he playing some sort of a character, or is it a mix of both? I do think there are people who get into politics and probably other forms of quote unquote entertainment who maybe they sort of they start out as themselves, but then they start to play up certain aspects of their personalities, and then eventually they become the person who they've been pretending to be. And it's who knows. All right, we will move on from that, because I do want to get to, I have something here. This is regarding the hearing the other day with these IRS whistleblowers. I do want to get to this. This is from thehill.com. 5 takeaways from Hunter Biden IRS whistleblower hearing. Before we do that, let me give the studio line again, 603-250-6007, 603-250-6007. You might have thoughts on this. You might have thoughts on microphones in appliances, or you might have thoughts on Big Bird, whatever you would like to interject with. But so this is from the other day. We haven't had a chance to get to it yet this week, but Republicans and Democrats sparred over the significance of the tax crimes investigation into Hunter Biden at a House Oversight Committee hearing Wednesday that featured 2 IRS whistleblowers, with the GOP arguing the president's son was spared from true justice, while Democrats argued he was thoroughly investigated by a team formed under the former president and led by a Trump-appointed attorney. And that's an important detail. There's a lot of things to remember here. That this was this prosecutor was appointed under Trump. And let me just say too, before we get deeper into this, I'm all for. You might think that I would say that. Some of you might expect me to say that, I don't think hearings like this should go on and whatnot. No, I would never say that. I'm actually a big fan of oversight and a big fan of transparency and investigating, getting things out in the open and so forth. Now, unfortunately, these types of things very often wind up not being particularly productive, because what these really are, and both Democrats and Republicans do this, what these hearings really are about, if we're being honest about it, and again, this applies to both the left and the right, these public hearings, usually not much actual information is learned from them, not much comes out, but it is an opportunity for everyone participating in the hearing, even the witnesses, really, but especially those senators or those congressmen, depending on which House of Congress is conducting the hearing, for them to raise their profiles, for them to get some national TV time on the news channels, to be talked about in media. It's an opportunity for them to boost their public images because they all get to, and some of them really, and again, that's why it's probably good that I talked about Ted Cruz and my speculation about how performative what he does and says is, because it kind of leads in. It's a good segue into this subject, because very often that's what these hearings are. The hearings aren't about getting to the truth necessarily. Now, that doesn't mean that we don't get some of that from these hearings. So I'm not saying the hearings are useless and are only performative, but what I am saying is there's a high degree of performance art to these hearings, to these kinds of hearings. Whether it's this, whether it's, the Democrats impeaching Trump. Not that I don't have my own issues with Trump. As you know, if you're a regular listener, I don't like Trump at all. But when you see those, or the January 6th committee, which I supported, by the way, I supported the January 6th committee. I thought that was a worthwhile thing to do. But let's be honest. Everyone sitting, well, with the exception of maybe Liz Cheney and Adam Kinzinger, but I think they did themselves more harm than good in a sense. But, when you've got, it's a chance to get TV time, right? It's a chance to raise your public profile, which will help you in your political career down the road. Or if nothing else, a clip of you ranting about something might work well in a campaign ad when you're running for re-election. So, but anyway, so I kind of view this from a little bit of a cynical mind. But that doesn't mean it's without value. Again, no matter who it is, no matter what party, I'm a big fan of oversight. I'm a big fan of getting things out in the open. And if you think you have something on somebody that the public needs to know about, let's hear it. Let's get it out there. And listen, people can make their own judgments. Now, unfortunately, people will tend to make their own judgments, most people, through a strictly partisan lens. So if you're a Republican, you're probably going to look at these hearings and say, wow, look, they really, they proved that Hunter Biden is Satan and should be put in prison for the rest of his life. And if you're again, I'm being hyperbolic, I know. But if you're a Democrat, you're likely to look at this and say, this was a colossal waste of time. And these whistleblowers are full of it. And that's it. And this is all pointless and useless. Again, that just tends to be, people pick their sides and they go into looking at something like this through a purely partisan lens. But I would like to look at this, take a step back and look at it from a broader view. I am a fan of oversight, congressional oversight, but I also do look at it through with a bit of a jaundiced eye, shall we say. Although I've never actually had jaundice. Also from Mediaite, John posted this in the chat room. Cruz was, I'm sorry, not from Mediaite, from Wikipedia rather. Cruz was introduced to smoking cannabis after joining the Senate by fellow Republican Lindsey Graham. Those criminals. Okay. New Force of the Spark says, we say good speech, hashtag Matt. Thank you. I'm not actually making a speech. If it comes across that way, I don't mean it to. But I do rant and pontificate. Okay. It says here, IRS Special Agent Joseph Ziegler and his supervisor, Gary Shapley, who investigated Biden, expressed frustration. Hunter Biden, I think, right? Is that what they were investigating specifically? Let me back up here. Okay, yeah, Hunter Biden. Expressed frustration over how U.S. Attorney for Delaware David Weiss and other prosecutors handled the investigation, alleging authorities slow-walked the case and showed preferential treatment to the president's son. The House Ways and Means Committee had previously interviewed the two whistleblowers privately and released transcripts just days after prosecutors reached an agreement for Biden to plead guilty to 2 charges of willful failure to pay taxes. The nearly 6-hour hearing relayed little information not already covered in the nearly 400 pages of testimony from the two men, with the whistleblowers saying they could not answer questions outside the scope of that testimony. But the hearing was revelatory about how both sides of the aisle could use that testimony. Here are 5 takeaways from the hearing. Okay. and we might hit that break a few minutes late. I do want to get through this, but okay, first one. Again, this is from thehill.com. Democrats say testimony shows common disagreements. Democrats largely sought to cast the whistleblowers' complaints as common disagreements between investigative staff and prosecutors, who often have reservations about scoring convictions on evidence discovered by staff. Ranking member Jamie Raskin, Democrat of Maryland, said the testimony showed a, quote, traditional tug of war, unquote, between investigators and prosecutors, using as an example the recent indictment of former President Trump on charges of mishandling classified documents, where prosecutors focused on a small number of alleged crimes, even though investigators said they found more violations. Shapley, though, pushed back on that assertion, saying that assistant U.S. attorneys and attorneys in the Department of Justice Tax Division had agreed with a number of recommended charges, but not all were ultimately pursued. So it sounds like Raskin, in other words, what Raskin is saying, the way I understand that is, there are disagreements within law enforcement about do we investigate this? Is this worth going after? Should we pursue this charge or not? Should we emphasize this or be more focused on that in terms of this investigation and so forth? So he's arguing that this is just a natural manifestation of that. But then Shapley pushed back on that and said, no, that's not what it is. Representative Dan Goldman, Democrat of New York, similarly argued that investigators and attorneys often view a case differently. Goldman said, referencing his work as a prosecutor, quote, I never met an agent who didn't want to charge every possible case. But what I noticed in 5 hours of testimony today is that neither of you has ever mentioned a portion of the case that may not be so strong or may be suspect or may have a defense. And that's because that's what the prosecutor has to think about before charging a case, unquote. Ziegler testified that Weiss offered a rationale for not pursuing charges for some tax years, worried that testimony about Biden's personal life at that time could sour the changes. I think that's a typo. It's supposed to be chances of conviction. Democrats also argued that, contrary to the whistleblower's assertion, it sounded like Biden's tax history was subject to a rigorous review by investigators and prosecutors. Quote, it sounds like Hunter Biden's taxes were subject to a great deal of scrutiny and rigorous review by a large team of expert investigators who had experience working complex cases. The time, personnel, and all the resources devoted to this investigation make it abundantly clear that this investigation was taken seriously by both the IRS and DOJ, unquote, said Eleanor Holmes Norton, a Democrat of D.C. She also said, quote, while our witnesses here today may disagree with the U.S. attorney's decisions, it is undeniable that Hunter Biden was subject to a thorough and rigorous investigation, unquote. Okay, takeaway number 2. Jordan accuses Weiss of changing his story. Now, by the way, Jim Jordan is, he's an example of someone who really uses these opportunities to perform. And if you've seen his work over the years, he never misses an opportunity. He's very consistent in that. Okay, it says here, Republicans' recent interest in impeaching Attorney General Merrick Garland centers on a key detail from Shapley's testimony. Weiss, he said, sought and was denied special counsel status as he attempted to bring charges outside Delaware, with U.S. attorneys in other jurisdictions allegedly being opposed to him bringing charges on their turf. Weiss has said he never asked for special counsel status and says he was assured he would be granted special attorney status through another statute if he wished to file charges outside his district. Weiss has outlined in both a June 7 letter and a July 10 letter that he has, quote, never been denied the authority to bring charges in any jurisdiction, unquote. But House Judiciary Chairman Jim Jordan, Republican of Ohio, who also sits on the Oversight Committee, mischaracterized the letters, arguing that Weiss changed his story. Jordan said of the letters, quote, what happened in between those two events? Your testimony went public. He goes, oh my goodness, I got to change my story because now the truth is coming out, unquote. Weiss's second letter includes more detail about his dealings with DOJ leaders, saying he was assured he would be granted special attorney status if needed well in advance of the meeting, where Shapley asserts he said otherwise. Raskin said, quote, when you look at the letters he actually sent, he didn't change his tune at all. He said the exact same thing every time, and he even expanded the answer to be perfectly clear, unquote. Yeah, I mean, clarifying his story and giving more detail and so forth is not the same thing as changing his story. Whether Weiss had interest in either of the two statuses is largely of interest to Republicans as a way to forward a potential impeachment inquiry into Garland, as he assured lawmakers that Weiss had, quote, full authority to bring cases in other districts if he needs to do that, unquote. John Hopwood says in the chat room, why would anyone trust the U.S. attorney appointed by the Trump administration? There's also, John's also commenting on something else here that we might get to in the second hour. Shapley also undercut another key factor fueling the GOP's interest in impeaching Garland, saying he has no evidence that Garland intentionally misled Congress about Weiss's authority. Shapley said, quote, let me be clear. Although these facts contradict the Attorney General's testimony and raise serious questions for you to investigate, I have never claimed evidence that Attorney General Garland knowingly lied to Congress. This for others to investigate and determine whether those letters contain knowingly false statements. I don't claim to be privy to United States Attorney Weiss's or Attorney General Garland's communications, unquote. Democrats suggested that the whistleblowers may have been confused over two statuses prosecutors can attain, appointment as a special counsel versus the special attorney status Weiss was assured he could receive if desired. Ziegler in his testimony asserted he still believes a more independent status is needed by those handling the investigation. Okay, third takeaway. Here we go. Yes, Marjorie Taylor Greene. She never fails to disappoint. Now, she is someone, by the way, just to be clear, and I'm curious to know what you all think, but I don't believe that she is in any way playing a character. I do not have any theory at all similar about her, at all similar to the theory that I have about possibly Ted Cruz. I think Marjorie Taylor Greene is as real as it gets. And that's enough said about that specifically. But let's look at her part in the hearing because, again, she did not disappoint. Greene overshadows hearing with parental discretion advised moment. I might even have to self-edit some of this as I read this on the air. Perhaps the biggest surprise in the hearing came when Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene, Republican of Georgia, brought sexually explicit but censored posters of Hunter Biden to make her point. By the way, if you didn't know anything about these hearings and I or anyone said to you, explain to you what happened with this part and explained it about the sexually explicit Hunter Biden posters. Someone brought these to the hearing. If I just told you that, I left all the names out of it except Hunter Biden, of course. And I said, guess who was responsible for this particular stunt? You would immediately know it was MTG. You would know. You would know. You wouldn't have to think about it. You wouldn't hesitate for a second. You would say Marjorie Taylor Greene. And I would say yes. Look who won the pony. An expression I've never used in my life until now. But I like it. I might use it again. I might use it again tomorrow at some point. I won't use it again today, though. I have a very strict rule. If I introduce an expression that I've never used before into my own vernacular, I never use it twice in the same day. You have to wade into these things. A year from now, I might be saying it every other sentence. We have a call, and there's nobody there. We don't have a call. Okay. So Greene said this, quote, before we begin, I would like to let the committee and everyone watching at home that parental discretion is advised, unquote. Greene's questioning included her holding up small posters featuring graphic sexual photos from the laptop hard drive that purportedly belonged to Hunter Biden, censored with black boxes. That's good. That's the tasteful way to do it. The faces of others involved in the sex acts were censored with black boxes, but Biden's face is visible in the photos. Her focus on the explicit and salacious history of Biden, who has been public about his struggles with addiction, stands in contrast to Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer, Republican of Kentucky. James Comer's past indications that the focus of the committee's investigation of the Biden family's business dealings would not focus on his personal actions. By the way, side note, where did these pictures come from? Is it possible that Hunter Biden at that time had an appliance that was spying on him and taking these scandalous pictures? Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Democrat of New York, said Green's move to show, quote, pornographic images marked a new low for the committee. Frankly, I don't care who you are in this country. No one deserves that. It is abuse. It is abusive, unquote. Hey, listen, I will say this. I mean, I agree with AOC, but she did make sure to censor everything with those black boxes. I mean, you know, at least there was an effort there, you know, some standard of good taste. All right. This is the fourth takeaway. We'll get through these last two and then we'll get to break. Democrats argue GOP distracts from injustice for black and brown individuals. Several black lawmakers directly challenged Republican claims that the Biden plea deal shows a two-tiered system of justice, saying the argument minimizes the experiences of black and brown Americans disproportionately impacted by the justice system. Representative Summer Lee, a Democrat of Pennsylvania, said, quote, I'd like to address the way my Republican colleagues are attempting to co-opt the phrase two-tiered justice system to make it sound like Trump and his cronies are somehow the victims here. The reality is that the term two-tiered system of justice is meant to refer to the very real system that exists in the United States and which affects black and brown folks, not powerful former presidents and their political allies, unquote. By the way, that is similar to something I've said. You know, the first time I heard Mike Pence was the first one I ever heard say, you know, Americans are tired of a two-tiered criminal justice system. They did co-opt that phrase. You see that a lot in politics. One side will co-opt something from the other. The only thing is, when I've talked about that, I haven't framed it the same way that she does. Representative Summer Lee of Pennsylvania, I have framed it as, I guess more broadly, you know, yes, you have two tiers in that you have one tier for the wealthy, the powerful, the elite, etc., and then another tier for everyone else, the middle class and the poor. You could even argue we have a three-tiered criminal justice system, one for the wealthy, the powerful, the elite, one for the middle class, and one for the poor, because the poor do even worse in the criminal justice system than the middle class. If you're wealthy, you can afford to hire great legal counsel, and the system tends to protect itself anyway. The elite protect the elite, etc. It's very much a closed circuit, if you will. No pun intended. If you're in the middle class, you can hopefully afford to hire a lawyer, but you won't get the same level of representation that you would if you were wealthy. And if you're poor, you're going to get stuck with a public defender in any sort of criminal entanglement. No offense to public defenders, but they tend to be overworked and underpaid. And by the way, that I believe is intentional. Again, the system is designed so that the poor will get the least possible defense because they're simply not valued as much within the system more broadly, not just the criminal justice system, but I'm speaking in broader terms, the system. So that's why, you know, when you hear, well, why are public defenders so overworked and underpaid? Well, they're overworked because they don't hire additional public defenders to help, and they're underpaid so that they either aren't as into their jobs or they don't stick around long. That's all, in my view. I can't prove it. It's a theory. It's a good theory. I think I'm right. That's all intentional. That's it may not be entirely conscious, but it is intentional, in my view. Let's see. Representative Shontel Brown, Democrat of Ohio, listed off a number of statistics on disparities in the criminal justice system, including within IRS, asserting that black taxpayers are audited at least 3 times more often than other taxpayers. Representative Maxwell Frost, a Democrat of Florida, also said Republicans were using the term improperly. He said, before listing off a number of recent and historical examples, quote, Republicans and Trump complain about a two-tier justice system co-opting the language of the decades-long civil rights movement for black lives and black freedom, a movement that they actually are actively looking to eliminate. It's black, brown, and poor people versus everyone else, and I won't accept when Republican politicians look to appropriate the language of the movement for black lives and civil rights to fit a political agenda to defend Donald Trump, unquote. Oh, did I do all 5? I thought that was the 4th one. No, I guess there were 5. I might have, I did get all 5 of them. I might have subconsciously forgotten about the Marjorie Taylor Greene one. Okay. Let's do this. We are just past the top of the hour. We're going to take a break. We're going to show some love to our amazing sponsors. But first, let's play this track. This is Dave Wally's band, A Satellite Union, and I love this song, and it is very appropriate for the times, as we discussed in our interview last week. This is Like a War. Check this out. Then we'll show some love to our sponsors, and then we'll be back with hour number 2, Numero Dos. There's plenty more Matt Connerton Unleashed to come. Don't go anywhere.
We were as
down to the Hop Knot at 1000 Elm Street, Manchester's premier craft beer and gourmet pretzel bar. Tell us more, Trudy.
We make our dough fresh every day. We make a variety of styles of pretzels and serve craft beer, cocktails, and a few bottles of wine. We do the traditional pretzel, and we have multiple flavors for that. We also do stuffed pretzels, pretzel sandwiches, free dessert pretzels, and pretzel knots.
The Hop Knot in the Brady Sullivan Plaza at 1000 Elm Street.
Bring your kitchen to life with Queen City Cabinetry, located at 87 Elm Street in the historic Sunbeam Mall in Manchester. Open Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. and Saturdays, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. They can be reached at 603-222-2007 or on the web at queencitycabinetrynh.com. Come see the possibilities. Queen City Cabinetry, another proud sponsor of WMNH.
Clemento's Pizzeria, family friendly, awesome for a date night. Clemento's Pizzeria. For delivery, call 603-782-8450. Clemento's Pizzeria, the best pizza in town. 1875 South Willow Street in Manchester, New Hampshire. Best cocktails around. Come in as friends and leave as family.
This hour on WMNH is sponsored by CGI Business Solutions, located at 5 Dartmouth Drive in Auburn. They serve all your business needs, including employee benefits planning, corporate design and business administration, investments and wealth management, and customized business insurance solutions. Their phone number is 866-841-4600 or on the web at cgibusinesssolutions.com.
WMNH, rip the knob off.
Welcome back, everybody, as we are well into hour number 2, numero dos of Matt Connerton Unleashed. And we are live from the studios of WMNH 95.3 FM in glorious downtown Manchester, New Hampshire. Also on Comcast 97 if you're in Manchester. And hello to all of our online listeners across the nation and around the globe. You can go to my website, mattconnerton.com, for all of your live streaming options, social media links, contact info, show archives, etc., etc. Today is Thursday, July 20th, 2023. So nice to have you all with me. By the way, Thursday, of course, is trivia night at the Hop Knot, our amazing sponsor right across the street at 1000 Elm Street. And make sure you call ahead. Actually, I think they had put on social media that they still had spots open. Yeah, this went up just a little while ago. It says, still got room for a few teams tonight. Call us and snag a table. And the number to call is 603-232-3731. That's 603-232-3731. But those spots do fill up quickly, but that starts tonight at 7 p.m., hosted by the great Broderick Lang. Also, this just went up. This is interesting. Oh, that's actually for... Actually, I'm going to hold off on that. There's something else, but there something else they're advertising too. But I'm going to wait on that. But let's see. Oh, John Hopwood just shared something in the Facebook live chat that we'll look at here. Yeah, from thespoon.tech. Gourmia is putting a camera on a connected air fryer. Aha! Wait a minute. I think this is the brand that DJ Reckless brought home. The International Home and Housewares Show starts this weekend. And we know we're going to see lots of announcements around the smart kitchen. Gourmet is one of the first announcing this week they've added a camera to the brand's line of connected air fryers. Oh my God, Ted Cruz was right. This is very distressing. I hope that's... Now, the good news is our kitchen at home is not smart. It's not a smart kitchen. It's... I'm kidding. No, it's, I don't know. I guess a smart kitchen would be, what's a smart kitchen? Like when you go into the kitchen and you just, say stuff and, like you've got the replicator from Star Trek. It just instantly makes your food. That would be a smart kitchen. I hope, wouldn't it be great if we get to a point where AI becomes advanced enough where you can just, tell your smart kitchen to make you lasagna or something and then it appears. Oh, that'd be great. But one thing about that, when your food appears, I would want there to be some sort of sound effect. Like on Star Trek, when the replicator would create food, there would be it's not like the food would just appear like magic or just get beamed there. There would be some sort of a sound you would hear. And I would want that too. I would be deeply disappointed. I would actually be suspicious. If the food just appeared and there was no sound effect with it, I would think this was probably like the Impossible Burger, where it's not real meat. And I'd be very wary of consuming that. Huey the Gecko is in the Facebook live chat and said, would AI lasagna be as good as Mom's? I don't know. Now, I have a solution for that, though. What you would do is you would say to AI, you would tell the Chat GPT or whatever, or the Cook GPT, however that works, you would say, make lasagna like Mom. But then the Chat GPT would be like, who's mom? And then, I would say my mom. And then the Chat GPT, if it has a sense of humor, might say something insulting to me about my mom. And then I would lose my appetite. So it could be very self-defeating. Jenny says, our kitchen is circa 1950s. Yes, that is true. So our kitchen is definitely not a smart kitchen. Mike from Queen City Cabinetry. Oh, he should know something about this. Queen City Cabinetry, one of our great sponsors here at WMNH, they can bring your kitchen to life. Wait a minute. Oh my God. Now, this never occurred to me before. It says in the ad, it says it right there in the ad. This is taking on a whole new meaning as we're talking about smart appliances.
Bring your kitchen to life.
Bring your kitchen to life. That's what Peter White says in the ad for Queen City Cabinetry. Bring your kitchen to life.
Bring your kitchen to life.
I'm starting to wonder, what are you putting into these kitchens, Mike? Are you putting some sort of artificial intelligence spy camera type thingies that are ultimately going to spy on us and poison us with our food or something and then take over the planet? I'm just asking. I'm not accusing you of anything. I'm just asking. And Mike even said in the chat room, you're starting to connect the dots, Matt. I hope that doesn't mean you're going to have to kill me. I always thought this was a little ominous.
Bring your kitchen to life.
Bring your kitchen to life. And the way Peter says it, it sounds so nice. Bring your kitchen to life. It almost sounds too nice. Is Peter in on this with you? What's going on around here? Are there smart things in this room I don't know about? Am I being spied on? Am I on camera right now? And don't even... Wait a second. What's that? I never noticed that there before. Wow, this is a frightening day. John Hopwood says a smart kitchen should be woke to eliminate culinary racism. And then there's actually a link. Wait, what? Is this a joke? Let's see. DW.com. Culinary ignorance can breed racism. Well, this might explain. Now, didn't Ron DeSantis, when he went to college, didn't he take some culinary courses? This might explain his antipathy toward racism. He's all right. Wow. Yeah, this gets into a whole thing. Indian food is not even Indian? I don't, my stomach can't handle all this. I mean, I have my, I'm a left-leaning guy, but I have my I have my limits with wokeness. If it's going to begin to affect my palate in some way, I certainly don't want to think I'm eating racist food. That would be quite terrible. Let's see. The studio line is open, 603-250-6007, 603-250-6007. You can also text me at 617-917-4476. I'm on social media at Matt Connerton. You can email me, matt@mattconnerton.com. And, of course, you can interact and opine in the Facebook live chat. But the best thing to do so that we can hear and enjoy your dulcet tones is to give us a call at 603-250-6007, 603-250-6007. We'll get caught up with the Facebook live chat quickly here. New Force of the Spark says, we say we were listening to you, hashtag Matt. Well, thank you. John Hopwood says, thy are investigating Hunter Biden. He wrote Hunter with 3 U's, and he said the instead of they. Or thy instead of they. He's probably been reading Shakespeare. Thy are investigating. I'm not investigating Hunter Biden. But they are claiming that Burisma paid Hunter $5 million, which is legal, and Joe Biden, his father, $5 million, which is a bribe, but this is unverified. The bribe comes from a human source, unverified. That is correct. The source is unverified. Huey the Gecko says, speaking of food for thought, did you hear the new Jason Aldean song? Actually, we're going to get to that. I don't know if you were listening earlier, but I have not heard it yet, but I have it queued up. I'm going to play it on the show so I can give you my on the spot, in the moment, unvarnished thoughts and get all of yours as well, because it is controversial, apparently. Let's see. New Force of the Spark says, we say that is consequences. Trump is up to something, we said, and we say we ain't gonna like it. Dave Wally says, thanks again, Matt Connerton Unleashed. Yes, that song I played, that was Like a War from Satellite Union. Dave's great band from the great city of Chicago. New Force of the Spark says, we have a spaghetti for dinner, we said. Check those pots and pans for cameras. Mike says from Queen City Cabinetry, they are coming out with countertops that repair themselves if you scratch them. Okay, that is frightening. How could something repair itself unless it's alive and self-aware?
Bring your kitchen to life.
Yes. You would have to bring your kitchen to life quite literally in order for it to repair itself, in my opinion. This is Skynet. This is Terminator stuff. Mike says nanotechnology. Yeah, well, I don't even know what that is, but it sounds futuristic and sci-fi. I think nanotechnology, maybe it repairs itself, but maybe it also kills us all. I don't know what's going on here. See, this is why I never learned to cook. Because obviously, not only would I burn myself because I'm very much a klutz and I'm exactly the type of person who would accidentally dump a pot of boiling water on myself and scald myself and have third-degree burns. But also, nanotechnology, this is above my pay grade. I'm sorry. Oh, DJ Steve says, hey, Matt, I think there's an S-bomb in the lyrics somewhere. Heads up. Really? But it's a country song. They're not supposed to swear. I'll have to see if I have a radio edit. Miriam Banish says, my husband is a nanotech scientist. Really, Miriam? So your husband knows something about this, does he? I have some questions for him. I'm very concerned. New Force of the Spark says, we say thanks, Matthew Saviano, for the emoji. Huey the Gecko, of course. Melanie says, Ted Cruz was right. Well, I, for one, am happy people in hell will be able to drink ice water. That's like the hell freezes over. That's like a whole new spin on it. I like that. New Force of the Spark says, we love the George Foreman grill. Yes, I remember those ads, seeing those commercials on late night television for the George Foreman grill. Doesn't he have like 5 kids and they're all named George? Which I think is strange. But I don't have any children. What do I know? New Force says, we say that is our favorite grill of the George Foreman grill. Are you, New Force, are you a social media influencer working for the George Foreman grill? Okay, let me look at this. So DJ Steve said there's an S-bomb in the Jason Aldean song. So let me see if there's a radio edit. There probably is. You would think there would be. If not, if I can't find one. Oh, radio version. There we go. That'll work. I was going to say, if I can't find one, we'll have to save this for tomorrow. But all right. So the name of the song is Try That in a Small Town. I have the radio version here, so there shouldn't be any bad words. And again, this has stirred up quite a bit of controversy. So I'm going to, I think what I'll do is I'll play the whole thing all the way through. It's only 3 minutes. It's a short song. In radio, you should be under 3.5 minutes anyway, for a single. So 3 minutes is short. And by the way, a lot of the new country tends to be short songs. I think I'll play it once all the way through. And then if I think it merits it, I might play it a second time, but stop at certain points and give my thoughts. Now, again, the song is stirring some controversy and people are saying it's racist. I have not heard it yet. If you're just joining us, I did talk about this a little bit in the first hour. I have intentionally avoided listening to this song because I wanted to play it live on the air and I wanted to hear it for the first time while live on the air so then I can give my thoughts and get your thoughts and so forth. So here we go. This is the new Jason Aldean single that's stirring up a lot of controversy. This is called Try That in a Small Town. I apologize in advance, by the way, to those watching on Facebook. If Facebook might knock us off for me playing this song, because obviously it's someone very famous. But if they do, I will reconnect. But hopefully not. Lately, they haven't been interrupting the live feed. Facebook, they just I get a notice later saying we muted this part of the video. All right, here we go. Here it is.
You better hold on.
Yeah, buddy. Whistle 100.
All right, I should clarify. I don't know why that's at the beginning. This is not Whistle 100. This is WMNH 95.3. I don't know why. I don't know why that's at the beginning. If that's part of the song or somebody just uploaded it that way. That's weird. Okay, whatever.
Sucker punch somebody on a sidewalk. Carjacking old lady at a red light. Pull a gun on the owner of a liquor store. You think it's cool, act a fool if you like. Cuss out a cop, spit in his face. Stomp on the flag and light it up. Yeah, you think you're tough. Well, try that in a small town. See how far you make it down the road. Around here we take care of our own. You cross that line, it won't take long for you to find out. I recommend you don't. Try that in a small town. songs, the freshest sound.
I don't know why that's there. Again, this is not Whistle 100. This is WMNH 95.3 FM. Dave Wally says, so basically this is the country music version of F Around and Find Out. Not a fan. I do like the guitar player. I like the production. I'm an audio production nerd, and I do like the production. I like the way a lot of new country sounds sonically. I'm not a big country fan, but the guitars, you know, at a certain point, and I've talked about this on the show, a lot of heavy rock, the guitars started sounding smaller and smaller over time, and yet for some reason, this new country, especially in the last 10 years, the guitars actually got louder and heavier. It's interesting. Okay, my assessment, and knowing my audience as I do, I might get some argument on this, which is good. I welcome that, actually. I do not think the song is racist. However, I will go further and say, if you think that song is racist, I think you're really reaching. However, I will say this. I can understand, I can see where people, how should I say this? It's one of those things where I don't think it's racist, but I think that people who are racist probably really like that song. Does that make sense? In other words, I don't think the song is racist, but you could easily project certain things on it based on the imagery of the song, at least the imagery of the song that is evoked in my mind. You could project things on it from either direction. In other words, if you are racist, you can hear that song and probably think, yeah, good old boys. Yeah, that's right. and all that goes with that. But but also from the other direction, you could be, you know, sensitive to racism, and for the same reason, you could say, well, there's racist imagery in that song. I don't think the imagery in that song, at least what comes to mind when I listen to those lyrics, is racist. But again, I can see how someone would project that onto it. So I think it's a matter of art is art, and it's what you project onto it. I have a little bit more to say about that, but we do have a call. Hi, welcome to Matt Connerton Unleashed. Who's this?
Hey, Matt, this is Dylan Reynolds.
Dylan Reynolds, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing good, man. I was listening, and I heard where you were talking about how, you know, a lot of older recordings, especially hard rock, you know, the guitars always sound bigger. And the little bit of knowledge I have on that is, in the early days of mixing, you know, when you had manual EQs, cassette tapes, vinyls, etc., you were able to boost the bass. So in the actual studio mixes, bass is very, very hidden, which makes the guitar sound big, huge, beefy. And then with the advent of the modern digital age, of course, they're able to get proper EQs, and unfortunately, that kind of cuts down on the guitar.
Yeah, that makes sense. You know, I hadn't thought of it that way, but that does make sense. Obviously, too, on older recordings, you generally have a warmer production anyway with analog than you do digital. But yeah, I feel like a lot of modern country, though, for some reason, you know, a lot of it the guitars to me sound like what rock used to sound like. It's very interesting. And a lot of it, actually, I don't quite agree with this, but somebody on social media said one day, and I thought it was an interesting observation. I don't agree entirely, but somebody said that hair metal grew up and became new country. And I do see I do see the influence of sort of 80s bands, 80s rock bands in the country that we have now, country music.
Yeah, a lot of it, I think, boils down to the styling. You know, a lot of country is very, it can be obscured, and you can sometimes really tell it. You can sometimes it's very, you know, very hidden, but it's very blues oriented, which is exactly like what 80s hard rock, you know, bands like Doc and Rat, you know, all these classic big guitar kind of sounding bands are all blues oriented. So especially the modern age of country music that you hear now, it's a lot more poppy kind of sounding, and it takes a lot of that blues referencing. So you could easily take virtually any modern day country song, reorient a little bit, and you have what would have been considered an 80s rock hit.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. Dylan, I think we have you scheduled to be on the show soon, don't we?
I reached out to Jenny, but I live in North Carolina, so I don't know if I could get in. But I think she mentioned something over Skype. But I would love to. I would absolutely love to be on the show and hang out with you guys for an afternoon.
Yeah. No, that's what I meant. I think I think I'm looking at my calendar here. I'm trying to figure out. I thought you guys had settled on a date already for you to Skype in, but maybe I'm wrong.
We had tried to, but those were days that I was working, and I just couldn't. I couldn't get around that time. But I'm going to reach back out to Jenny and see if I can get up on that.
Yeah.
I'm working on a lot of really cool stuff, so it'd be really cool to talk about it.
Yeah, definitely. I look forward to that. Absolutely. Well, you should.
Right on, Matt. Well. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, buddy.
Oh, I was just going to say, you should give a plug, anything you want to plug as far as your music, website or social media.
Yeah, you can find me on Apple Music. My name is Dylan Reynolds, DILLONREYNOLDS, and I'll leave a comment. That way y'all can see how it's spelled. I do a lot of hard rock, 80s stuff. I'm in a Judas Priest tribute band called Unleashed because I love singing 80s stuff, and Rob Halford is one of my biggest vocal influences, and I love doing stuff like that. So I'm also working on a soundtrack for a movie. A good local friend of mine who's a author, he said, "Hey man, do you want to write some music for this movie I'm working on?" And I said, "Absolutely." So, if I can get scheduled, then I'll be able to do like a press release on that, but can't talk about it too much.
Yeah. Understood. All right, my friend. Well, I appreciate the call. Thank you so much, and look forward to talking to you again soon.
Absolutely, Matt. You have a nice day, buddy. Thank you.
All right, Dylan. You too. Bye-bye. All right, the great Dylan Reynolds. Yes, very talented musician. Miriam Banish says, hi, Dylan Reynolds. I have lots of family in North Carolina. Well, we have a lot of friends in North Carolina in our chat room from Greensboro, North Carolina. By the way, Greensboro, North Carolina, where the home of, if you're just joining us, someone named June Rash just passed away in Greensboro, North Carolina. Apparently she was a lovely woman, although, boy, can you imagine having Rash for a last name? That would be pretty awful. Jenny says, please do send me some dates. Actually, we have another call. Ron is calling us back. Hey, Ron. Ron, are you there?
Yeah, hi, Matt. Hey, since sorry to just butt in on you, but since you're on the subject of music, and I grew up on all kinds of music, old country, new country, and all of that. And one musical instrument that's outstanding to me is, for instance, like Vince Gill. He plays an electric guitar. The ones that you don't carry it or you don't wear it. It's just strapped over your legs or on a stand.
Yeah, the steel.
I love the sound of an electric guitar.
Yeah, absolutely.
And one more thing before I let you go. Mm-hmm. I was YouTubing yesterday, and I happened to. I've seen Rush a couple times and never paid too much attention to it. I was younger, and yesterday I happened to be listening to the genius of Rush's drummer. Holy moly cow! And if you've ever seen his drum set, it's 360 degrees of drums. I mean, he must have had 25 drums. So I gave Rush a real second chance, and now all of a sudden I'm thinking to myself, wow, I do like Rush.
All three members of that band, incredible musicians. As a bass player, I love Geddy Lee. But I'll be honest with you, it's interesting that you mentioned the drums, Ron, because when I listen to a Rush song, and I wouldn't put them in my top 10 of favorite bands, but I certainly respect them. I think I got kind of sick of them growing up because, you hear the same songs over and over on classic rock radio. But when I listen to Rush, I tend to listen to the drums because Neil Peart's drum lines were just very intricate, but he wouldn't overplay. It was tasteful, but very complex. And, if you listen to a song like Limelight, I totally focus on the drums. Geddy Lee's voice, I never really liked that much. Incredible bass player. And of course, Alex Lifeson is an incredible guitar player, but Neil Peart, one of the best, even though I wouldn't put Rush in my top 10 of favorite bands, if I made a list, I would put Neil Peart easily in probably my top 5 of drummers. Just an incredible drummer. Yeah. And we lost him. Unfortunately, he died of cancer a number of years ago and went through a lot of tragedy too. But what a talented guy. Absolutely.
Okay, buddy, that was it. And I'm still listening. Good show.
All right, Ron. Thank you. I appreciate it, my friend.
Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye. All right. That was our friend Ron. And that does open up the line for you. 603-250-6007. 603-250-6007. Yeah, it sounds like Melanie La Liberty from the great state of Vermont. She agreed with me about the Jason Aldean song. She said, I was totally thinking that. I think racist people will hear it that way. Yeah. Like I said, I don't think there's anything racist about the song itself. But I think that you can certainly, like any art, you can project onto it whatever you want to. And again, so I guess my verdict is not guilty on the racism, but if you do happen to be racist, you probably really like that song. I don't know how else to say it. But it's catchy enough. Jason Aldean, he's been around for a long time, huh? Like, he's not super old, but he's not a young guy either. It seems like he's been around a long time. And by the way, thank you again to DJ Steve for the heads up on the bad word. So I had to find a radio version of that, a clean edit, which was easy enough to do. But boy, I'll tell you what, those country artists getting edgy in 2023. So that's what I think. The line about good old boys, bunch of good old boys. That might be the closest thing in the song that I can think of in terms of sort of what might cause someone to perceive it a certain way, shall we say, to put it that way. But I don't agree with all the I know Sheryl Crow, she tweeted. Oh, the other thing too is the other thing people are criticizing it for is saying that it celebrates violence, it promotes violence, because there's a line in there, something about taking my gun, try to take my gun, I mean, I'm a pro Second Amendment guy myself, so I mean, here in New Hampshire we're armed to the teeth, but we're also very safe here. Again, I don't take that as promoting violence. I take that as, someone not wanting to give up his gun. Again, you can project onto it what you wish. It's art, it's open to individual interpretation, but I don't take it as, I don't find it offensive at all. And, I'm pretty, I'm pretty sensitive to those things, but I don't have any problem with it. That's my verdict. Dylan Reynolds, he's also in the chat room. He says, Rush drummer Neil Peart, he is phenomenal. Yes. John Hopwood says, did Dave Ridley call in? No, he did not. And I actually was hoping he would call today because I wanted to talk to him about Free Talk Live and that story. So maybe he'll join us tomorrow. I don't think we have a guest tomorrow either. Huey the Gecko says, Johnny Earthquake Band plays the flat slide steel guitar and gives lessons on how it works to all ages. Great educational performance that rocks. Top New Hampshire musician. Yeah, Johnny Earthquake. Johnny Earthquake Band, yes. New Force of the Spark says, we listen to an 80s band, The Cars, hashtag Matt. Good news, hashtag Matt. They are reunited as a pop singing group quartet. Is BPNT, Book, Beat, and True? Oh. Alrighty. Huey the Gecko says, love your review of that, Matt. Extremely non-biased. Well, I try. I try to give you my... and that's why I intentionally didn't listen to it until I could do so live on the show. Now, just quickly on the subject, let's see, because I am open-minded, I want to just look up. I should have done this already, but I was really focused in on those lyrics. I didn't want to miss anything. I'm looking up Jason Aldean's song controversy because I just want to take a closer look at what some of the people who do have a problem with it, what they're saying. So, we'll look at this article on NPR. This was just posted 3 hours ago. How Jason Aldean's Try That in a Small Town became a political controversy. It says here, Country Music Television says it will no longer... Oh, interesting. Now, the video. I need to watch the video. I will watch the video after the show today, and we will circle back to this conversation tomorrow. Because apparently the problem that some people have is the video. And I would have watched the video while we played the song, but DJ Steve gave us the heads up that the song has a bad word in it. And I assume the version they use in the video, obviously the one they play on Country Music Television is censored, but the one on YouTube may not be, so I didn't want to risk it. But apparently some people have a problem with the video. So I will have to look at that because there might be a whole other dimension to this. But so according to NPR, CMT says it will no longer air the video Try That in a Small Town by Jason Aldean after critics of the video said it contained lyrics that glorified gun violence and conveyed traditionally racist ideas. Now, again, I already told you what I think of the lyrics, but I don't know if the video has some imagery that's more striking. Huey the Gecko says, video not pro-peace, violence definitely the issue here, not race. Interesting. I'm going to watch that right after the show because I'm really curious now. A CMT spokesperson confirmed the move to NPR on Thursday, but offered no comment on the reasoning. Since the video's release on Friday, it's emerged as a familiar kind of political litmus test, with interpretations of its message often falling along voting divides, which is really what I was saying. Here's an overview of the situation. Aldean, a 46-year-old country singer from Macon, Georgia, first released a song in May, but it wasn't until the release of the video on July 14 as promotion for his 11th upcoming album that the discourse ratcheted up. In a statement released alongside the video, Aldean said the song represents an unspoken rule for those raised in small towns. Quote, "We all have each other's backs and we all look out for each other," unquote. The singer is not credited as a writer for the song, as has been the case for most of his 27 hit singles. Threats to outsiders and the implication those outsiders are from cities are present throughout the song's lyrics, which begin with a list of crimes that might happen in urban settings. Sucker punch somebody on a sidewalk, carjack an old lady at a red light. Then crescendo into the chorus, quote, "Well, try that in a small town. See how far you make it down the road. Around here, we take care of our own. You cross that line, it won't take long for you to find out. I recommend you don't." Aldean ups the vigilante ante by bridging the second chorus with a reference to gun rights, singing, quote, "Oh, here's where the S word is. I've got a gun that my granddad gave me. They say one day they're going to round up. Well, that blank might fly in the city. Good luck. Try that in a small town." I have to admit, just for, well, we were talking about nanotechnology, just for a nanosecond, when I read that line, that line about they say one day they're going to round up, that hit me a little different reading it than it did listening to it. Listening to it, I knew round up the guns. For some reason, when I read it, it hit me a little different, just for a nanosecond. Then I was like, yeah, round up the guns. In other words, they say they're going to come grab your guns. By the way, nobody's coming to grab your guns, just to be clear. I don't care what the NRA tells you. No one's coming for your guns. But, okay, so now this part seems to get to the video specifically. Why is the video so divisive? Interspersed between shots of Aldean singing are clips of vandalizing, riots, and police encounters, much of which is evocative of racial injustice protests. Interesting. Some of the scenes bear a Fox News chyron, but others, as some TikTok sleuths have pointed out, appear to be stock footage in some cases of gatherings from other countries. But much of the criticism around the video has less to do with these clips than its setting. The Maury County Courthouse building in Columbia, Tennessee, which serves as an American flag draped backdrop for Aldean and his band. Okay, here is where it gets interesting. The landmark was the site of race riots in 1946, as well as a 1927 lynching in which a white mob pulled an 18-year-old black man, Henry Choate, from jail and dragged him through the city by car, according to several media reports, including one detailed account from the Washington Post. Choate had allegedly confessed to attacking a 16-year-old white girl, quote, to protect his life, unquote, even though the girl, quote, could not positively identify him as the assailant, unquote, the Post reported. Okay. I did not know this about the video and the historical significance of the location. That's interesting. That may not be intentional, but it is certainly offering the benefit of the doubt, perhaps charitably. If that is just a mistake or a coincidence, that is insensitive of someone not to realize that and to put this out, because you have to know that people are going to figure that out. What is Aldean saying? On Tuesday, Aldean pushed back hard against accusations he was pro-lynching, saying such an interpretation goes too far and is dangerous. He wrote on Twitter, quote, "There's not a single lyric in the song that references race or points to it. Try that in a small town. For me, refers to the feeling of a community that I had growing up, where we took care of our neighbors regardless of differences of background or belief. No one, including me, wants to continue to see senseless headlines or families ripped apart," unquote. Well, again, you know, I guess we have to separate the song from the video. I'm going to have to watch the video. Miriam says in the chat, I had to go watch the video. The production company behind the video, Tacklebox, also defended the video's location as a popular filming spot, telling Entertainment Tonight that any alternative narrative about the reasons it was chosen were false. Let me stop there. Now, that's entirely possible. It's entirely possible that they didn't know, and that is a popular filming spot. And not everyone has the cultural sensitivity to think about, we should see if there's any problem here, if there's any history to this spot. So that's entirely possible. I'm not excusing it, though, because we live in a time when people should kind of know better, right? So assuming they didn't know and assuming it is a coincidence, that is a pretty damn unfortunate coincidence that, you know, that it happens to have been there with the history of that location. So that's not good. Miriam says there's a lot of footage of protests in the video. Let's see. Aldean has received 5 Grammy nominations, including 2 for Best Country Album for his decades of music depicting rural, blue-collar life. And throughout that success, he's rarely shied away from sharing his right-leaning political views. His wife, Brittany Aldean, and his sister, Casey Rosa Wicks, launched a conservative clothing line dedicated to trolling liberals. Aldean defended dressing his children in anti-Joe Biden attire and himself for wearing and himself for wearing blackface as part of a 2015 Halloween costume? Dude. No. 2015? That's only 8 years ago? No. You should know better, man. No, you don't do that. The rest of it, fine. You're a conservative, you want to troll liberals, fine. But blackface in 2015? Dude, come on, man. Wow. He was spotted golfing alongside Donald Trump and delivered an impromptu performance at the former president's Mar-a-Lago resort. But at other times, the singer has tried to walk a more nuanced line toward politics, perhaps most memorably after surviving the 2017 mass shooting at a Las Vegas music festival. Aldean was performing on stage as the night's closing act when the shooting began. 6 months later, he tiptoed through the refreshed gun control debate, saying in an interview that tragedies shouldn't be used as fodder for political arguments, but ultimately agreed that it was, quote, too easy to get guns, unquote, in the U.S. That is a nuanced position. I mean, he is saying he agreed that it was too easy to get guns. That's interesting. So he's capable of approaching these things from a nuanced and seeing these things as complex. So that's good. Let's see. Yeah, we're out of time. There's more to this, but that's okay. We'll circle back to this tomorrow, though. Yeah, Miriam says in the chat, oh my God, crossed a line with the blackface. Yeah, that's, wow. I didn't expect that. Jeez. All right. Well, that's really unfortunate. That's a pretty stunning lack of judgment. You know, I mean, it's, and we, you know, we've seen political figures get into some pretty scandalous positions, shall we say, when, you know, they have to answer for, you know, something they did in college or something, where a picture of them in blackface for Halloween, and they have to apologize and say, well, I was young. I didn't realize how insensitive that was and the history of that and whatnot. And I know better now and this and that. But this guy in 2015, wow. I guess you can try that in a small town and get away with it. See what I did there? But that's really, and there isn't anything in the article about him ever apologizing for it. Yikes. All right, well, we are out of time. If you missed any part of today's show, it will be up in just a little bit at WMNHradio.org and at my website, mattconnerton.com. Don't forget tonight, trivia night at the Hop Knot, but do call ahead and reserve your spot. Those spots do fill up quickly. Of course, trivia hosted by the great Broderick Lang, and we will be back tomorrow. Oh, Huey the Gecko says, always sunny in Philadelphia. Mac, I'm never sure how to say that name. Elhenny did blackface December 2021 air date with the full support of FX. Wow. Well, of course, the characters on that show are depicted as being sort of horrible, so kind of like Seinfeld in that sense. Obviously, that was done in character, but I am surprised, though, that FX allowed that. December 2021? Wow. That surprises me. Okay. Yeah, don't do that. No blackface, kids. Y'all ought to know better. And if, by the way, if anyone wants to say, oh, Matt's being woke, yeah, fine. That's just fine. Call me whatever you want. Call me a woke liberal. Call me whatever. I don't think anyone should be wearing blackface. Okay? You can, you know, call me a, I don't know. Call me a commie. I'm just, wow. I'm having a hard time getting past that little detail. All right. We'll end with a little bit more. We won't have time to play the whole song, but this track, Mixtape by Satellite Union. Our friend Dave Wally is in the chat room with us. This is another great song. And then that's it for us for now. I'll talk to y'all a little bit later. Bye, everybody.